Ask any 5-year-old their favorite color, and they'll answer in half a second. Ask them why, and they have no idea. And actually, most adults don't either. But the film industry does, so does every marketing team on Earth. Hi there, I'm Yvette, I'm a neuroscientist, and I'm 6 months into a challenge to try and rewire my brain in a year. And during this challenge, I realized how much colors hold power over us. Lately, I became more aware of my surroundings and how I feel. And man, did I realize that just a change in color can change my internal world. And the neuroscientist that I am, well, this sent me down a research rabbit hole that has changed how I view color. And so today I am going to show you 5 ways color is rewiring your brain. And if you stick to the end, you will realize there's one place color is hitting you every single day. And you might be overlooking it. There's a reason every fast food chain on the planet looks like a fire engine. And that is because they figured this out before neuroscience could explain it. So why does red work on everyone, even people who tell you that they hate the color red? Because you don't get a vote in how you feel about it. Your nervous system already moved before you consciously registered it. So, in 1935, a psychologist named John Ridley Stroop ran an experiment that you can even replicate it today at home. So, let's try it out now. So, he showed people color words written in mismatched ink. The word red written in blue. The word green written in red. And asked them to say the ink color, not the word. Try it. You stumbled, didn't you? Everyone does. And this is because color gets processed automatically. It turns from your eye, through your thalamus, into your visual cortex, and triggers your emotional response before your conscious mind catches up. In 1974, 2 researchers measured what red specifically does to your body. They tracked something called galvanic skin response. Basically, how much your sweat glands fire when something hits your nervous system. So, red beat every other color, every time. And this is why red price tags feel more urgent than yellow ones. And this is why brake lights are red. Your body reacts faster to red than to any other color on the spectrum. So every time you walk past a red sale sign or a red notification lights up on your phone, well, your nervous system runs the same micro response. And do that 10,000 times. Over the years, this becomes an unconscious trained pathway. So in a way, you have been trained to respond to something since you were a toddler. So anyway, that's red. Red wakes you up. Red trains your nervous system to flinch before you finish thinking. But here's another color your phone is using on you right now to do the exact opposite. So did Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, PayPal, IBM, Chase Bank. Every brand that wants to whisper, trust me, picks blue. There's a reason. But first, let me tell you some neuroscience. Until about 20 years ago, every neuroscience textbook said you had 2 types of light-detecting cells in your eyes. Rods, which work in low light, and cones, which see color. That was the whole list. Then, researchers found a 3rd cell. They called it the intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cell. It doesn't help you see. It sends signals directly to a part of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, your body's master clock, and it specifically responds to one wavelength of light, which is the short wave blue. So, in practice, when blue light hits your eyes, your body clock thinks the sun is up. It suppresses melatonin, the hormone that puts you to sleep. It releases cortisol, and in other words, it tells every cell in your body that it is daytime, which is great at 8 in the morning, but not so great in the evening before you go to sleep. And in 2015, researchers ran an experiment. They had people read on an iPad before bed for 5 nights, then read a paper book for 5 nights. The iPad group took longer to fall to sleep. They had less REM sleep. Their bodies thought it was still daytime, even though they'd been in a dark bedroom. This is why nowadays we see more and more people with orange glasses. All these actions are trying to undo the damage screens were causing. But this was about blue light. But how about the blue color? Well, the corporate world figured this out. Let me tell you this. So blue is universally linked to the open, clear sky and calm bodies of water, which our ancestors associated with safety and life-giving hydration. So, seeing the color blue, your brain associates it with safety and trust. And in fact, it has been shown that just by looking at the color blue, your heart rate slows down, giving you a sense of calm. And so, it comes to no coincidence and surprise why blue is the go-to color for banks, tech, and healthcare companies. And now you're gonna see it everywhere, I guarantee you. So, red wakes you up and blue resets your clock. But the next color makes you, well, feel safe. Surgeons wear green for a reason that has nothing to do with hiding bloodstains. And hospitals figured this out over 100 years ago. So walk into any operating room in the world. You'll see green scrubs. green cloth. And it turns out that it is neuroscience backed. As we have learned so far, your eyes are not built equally for every color, and green sits right in the middle of the visible spectrum. And it is the wavelength your retina processes most efficiently, because it carries lower physiological load for the visual system to process. And this is interpreted by the brain as safety. In 2012, researchers ran an experiment called the fertile green. They showed participants a brief flash of green before asking them to do a creativity task. People who saw green came up with more original ideas than people who saw white, grey, or red. And they called this the fertile green effect. The idea being that green was the color of resources, growth, the safe forests, and fertile fields. The color your ancestors looked for when they wanted to know that they wouldn't starve. And so this reflects that 20 million years of primate evolution staring at leaves, your visual system was built to find green and feel safe once that happens. There's even early research suggesting green light reduces pain. A 2002 study mapped a specific neural pathway in mice, where green wavelength light activated a circuit that dampened pain signals. A 2023 pilot study with fibromyalgia patients had them wear green-tinted glasses. The green group reduced their painkiller use significantly more than the control groups. Well, I find it really cool, in fact. So think about it. If you spend your entire life in grey concrete rooms, staring at red notifications, sitting under harsh white office lighting, well, your nervous system has nowhere to calm down. And green is what your brain evolved to rest in. And that's why your local park feels different from your office. So yeah, red excites you, blue keeps you awake, green rests your brain, but there's one color that changes what you remember. Cadbury once went to court to defend the color purple, not the logo, the color itself. They lost the case in 2013. But the fact that they fought it at all should tell you something about how powerful color really is inside your brain. And when I read this, I thought it was a joke. However, here's the question. Why would a chocolate company spend years and millions of pounds in court over a shade of purple? And how can anyone legally own a color? So the shade is called Pantone 2685C. And Cadbury trademarked it in 1995. For nearly 2 decades, they had exclusive rights to use that specific purple on chocolate packaging in the UK. Then Nestle challenged the trademark, and after a long legal battle, Cadbury lost the protection in 2013. And actually, Cadbury isn't the only one owning colors. UPS owns brown, T-Mobile owns magenta, Tiffany owns a very specific blue, and Christian Louboutin owns red soles on high heels. So companies will practically spend fortunes fighting for the rights to a color. So what are they actually protecting? And the answer lies in your memory. So in 2013, researchers reviewed dozens of studies on color and memory, and they found that colored stimuli are remembered significantly better than grayscale ones. And this effect gets stronger when the color matches the object. For example, a red apple is remembered better than a blue apple because your brain stores color as a binding feature in episodic memory. The visual signature gets encoded alongside the content. You have 2 paths leading back to the same memory instead of one. And this is why brands fight for color. Your brain doesn't need to read the brand name to know what to expect. The color is just enough for recognition. And that is branding done right. It is building an unconscious recognition neural circuit in your brain. And the film industry uses the same principle. Think of any film you love. I can almost guarantee you remember its palette before you remember its lines. And talking about movies, let's go to the next point. Watch any Wes Anderson film. The story you think you're feeling, half of it is being delivered through the color temperature alone. Often the script gets the credit and the actors get the awards. But the color grade, the choice between warm and cool, is also doing emotional work. So every Hollywood blockbuster since 2010, I guess, uses the same color grade. Orange and teal. It's so universal that once you see it, well, you start to see it in every movie trailer and poster. And why did they choose this color combination? Because actually warm colors activate 1/2 of your evolutionary memory and cool colors activate the other. And as such, they complement each other. So warm like orange, red and amber, that's fire, skin, sunset, and your nervous system simply associates warm tones with proximity, safety, intimacy. This is why Wes Anderson's pastel pinks and yellows make you feel like a child again. And on the other hand, cool colors like blue, teal, that's actually like water, distance, the machines, isolation as well. So your nervous system associates cool tones with space and the unknown. And this is why every sci-fi future is blue. Let's say, for example, Blade Runner 2049. It feels cold even though there's no snow on screen. And in 2018, a research team ran a controlled experiment. 2 rooms, same actual temperature. However, one was lit with warm light and the other one was lit with cool light. The people in the warm lit room rated the room as feeling warmer. And in a much bigger study, nearly 1,000 office workers across 4 countries were surveyed. And the result was that people in warm, well-colored workspaces reported significantly better mood than people in dull, neutral environments. And this effect was observed across cultures. And this is also why restaurants and hotels lean towards warm lighting. They want you to stay longer, order dessert, feel at home. And also why hospital corridors are cool, blue and gray. They want clinical efficiency and they don't want you to linger there with a cup of coffee. Because they are optimizing for efficiency. So the film industry knows this. The marketing world knows this. Now, well, you know it too. So from now on, you can walk past any logo, any film poster, any storefront and tell me exactly what it's trying to do to you. And I hope that what you can take from this video is that color isn't just a passive aesthetic, and definitely it should not be dismissed as a preference and nothing more. In a way, it is an unconscious message that we are transmitting to ourselves and others. So if it is anyway rewiring our brains, might as well use it to wire it in our favor. And, just to point it out, we all choose colors every single day because every morning you stand in front of your wardrobe and you pick a black shirt or a red dress. Well, you're signaling something to your brain, that the clothes themselves are rewiring your brain. You don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. And that is why I made this video here, which you can watch next. So with this, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Ciao!